Okay, a little tip for gaskets. It doesn't matter whether it's a glued on gasket, like door gasket, trunk gasket, whatever, or one of those that's clipped in. So obviously you get aftermarket, it's usually quite a bit longer. So you got plenty to play with here. But the thing that I like to do, once get it cut so it's just a little bit longer than it, you know, so you get a little bit of an overlap there. See the bottom, I need to trim up a little bit yet. But I'll take a chunk of usually this part, especially if it's clipped on, because then obviously you can't use the clip-on part. I'll cut a chunk off, I'll roll it up, I'll shove it, put a little glue on it, shove it into both ends, and that helps hold this, because I know I've seen it sometimes they'll start to like curl out even when they're glued and clipped on. That keeps them from doing that, and then also that way if they shrink a little bit, you've got something in there so you don't get an air gap. Not that it's a huge deal, but you know, you're there, you're doing it, you might as well throw a couple minutes worth of effort into it and try to make her a little bit nicer. You can see the seam when this got pinched down, it kind of mushed it a little bit, but that's okay. Passenger side, and you know, the joys of fit and finish on a early 70s, well, anything really, but so that's just the way they were. They had the fuel line just kind of exposed inside the cab. Oh well, just the way it is. So I'm not too worried about that. And I maybe got that inner piece a little bit big, so driver's side will make it a little bit smaller. So for now, it's slam the door good and hard just to get that gasket to kind of seat down. They were pretty much collapsed to its maximum collapsibility. Yeah, there's a word. Anyway, now the door stands a little bit proud, but that'll sink in. After a few days, few weeks, it'll fit just fine again. So I just changed my door locks over, and I was having a problem with this one. It wasn't working right when I had the door open and stuff. I couldn't get it to lock right. There's something in the way. Well, I found out something really interesting about this truck. So it's locked, or closed I should say. I can lock it, unlock it, whatever. Oops, gotta unlock it again, dumbass. So there it is. Now I can't lock it. It won't let you lock it if the thing isn't latched. And partially latched, same thing. You can't. It has to be fully closed. I'm slamming the door hard because I got new gaskets in there right now. You can't accidentally lock your keys in there. That is kind of a neat feature. I can see how it can be a pain in the ass, and that's probably why they got rid of it, but I've never known that before. That's interesting. One more odd little thing to look for when I'm dealing with parts, because I'll see if I can show it to you. Now you can see right there what that latch is hitting on, right above the linkage. Now if I close the latch mechanism all the way, now that little hook shaped rod is gone. Now I can lock it all the way. Interesting. So I learned something today, and so did everybody else. Cool. So this latch got me to thinking, is that a special option, or is it just the way they were? Well, I went around the yard a little bit. The newest, I should say, the oldest pickup I have in the yard right now is 76, and I can lock the doors with the door open and close it. It's fine, and it locks. Got to unlock it with the key, no problem. I have a 75 van. Vans and pickups used a lot of the same parts. If the latch itself isn't the same, it's probably going to be, the construction is going to be the same. Maybe angles are different for linkage or whatever, but that 75, same thing. Open the door, you can lock it all the way, and you can lock it. I didn't slam the door shut because I don't have keys for the thing, but you can lock it. You can push the thing down and it locks. So if it was standard equipment, my guess is that 72, 3, and 4 is when it was, and then they changed it for 75 because 75 was a big year change, or a big change for a lot of stuff, a lot of little things. If it's an option, I don't know if it's because it's a club cab. They were all adventurers. I mean, that was the baseline for a club cab. I've got other adventurers here that don't have that. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a little digging into the parts books if they even have those numbers, and it's very possible that if they changed this because it was not popular and people complained about it, even the replacement part number would be the newer the non-door closed lockable latch, if that makes sense. So I might not even find it in there unless I find like a really old parts manual, which I don't know if I have one that goes back quite that far. Just that, or just that new. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, a little bit of a mystery, and I don't know if I'll ever completely solve it, but now I know. I learned something a little weird. Cool.